Welcome to Wisdom Wednesdays. I am Monica Kincaid. We must acknowledge that offenses, y'all, will happen, and people will have opinions about us, whether they're right or whether they're wrong. We will make mistakes and sin, but the key question is, how do you respond to rebuke? Coming from the daughter of a coach, I remember seeing my dad pulling aside a talented athlete who's been slacking, whether it was in practice or at the game. The conversation, of course, isn't easy. The coach's words are pointed and tough, highlighting where the athlete has failed. But they're also hopeful, urging the athlete to strive for excellence because failure is not an option. It stings, y'all, to hear criticism, but deep down, the athlete knows that the coach is coming from a place of trust and of love. In the same way, God rebukes us. It can be painful, yet it often is a catalyst for real transformation. In a world that resists correction, we must remember that God chastises those he loves. Hebrews 12:6 says, "For those whom the Lord loves, he disciplines." In 2 Corinthians 7, Paul addresses the Corinthians' response to his previous corrective letter, which had caused concern about their reaction. What stands out to me is that Jesus doesn't rebuke us, y'all, without offering restoration. As believers, we should model his example, bringing restoration that leads to true freedom, joy, and reconciliation with God and with others. The first lesson we can learn is that godly sorrow leads to true repentance. In 2 Corinthians chapter 7, verses 9 and 10, Paul rejoices not because the Corinthians were made sorrowful, but because their sorrow led to genuine repentance according to God's will. I love how Paul's rebuke stirred their hearts, but it wasn't a worldly sorrow rooted in guilt or shame. The difference between godly sorrow and worldly sorrow is that godly sorrow brings repentance and spiritual growth, while worldly sorrow focuses on regret and consequences without transformation, y'all. True repentance is not about just saying that you are sorry, but it is a change of heart and also a change in our behavior. If you live long enough, you can testify that conviction, y'all, is a gift from God that leads to transformation and salvation. The second lesson for us focuses on how correction is an act of love, not condemnation. It's important to distinguish between the two. God brings correction, but the enemy, the deceiver, the father of lies, Satan himself, brings condemnation. As Paul explains in 2 Corinthians 7 and 12, his letter was not just about addressing the wrongdoer or the offense, but about showing the Corinthians seriousness and care in their response, reflecting their sincere commitment to God and their desire that they have to restore a relationship with Him. When God or spiritual leaders correct us, y'all, it is an expression of love and care, not rejection. For believers, receiving correction with humility leads to greater holiness and spiritual growth. Godly sorrow is not a sign of failure or weakness, but an invitation to grow closer to Jesus. Though it may hurt, we may not like it, it leads to repentance, reconciliation, and a life allowing us to experience God's love and His transformation. I hope and pray that this thought on rebuke, repentance, and transformation has helped you view it from God's point of view. May God's blessings overflow you. Until next time,